Welcome back to a brand new Clash Royale video, guys. My name is Chief Pat. Today, we're going to be trying out the SimCity deck as I was battling against one of my viewers during my Kamcord live stream. If you guys don't know, I stream live on Kamcord every single week. I will throw the info in the description below, but pretty much I battle against some of my viewers from time to time, and I made a clan called Chief Pat Cam for Kamcord, and I decided to bring out my building deck as I faced off against Satric. Now, inside of my building deck, I'm going to have the Barbarian hut, the Tombstone, the Elixir pump, as well as the Goblin hut, and of course a mirror to make an insane amount of buildings as I faced off against a couple of my subscribers. Now, he does actually have the lightning spell, which is the ultimate counter when you are actually trying to build a building deck. But fortunately for me, I did have 2 levels on him, so it's actually going to be a tough time for him to be able to clear out all my buildings all the time as I make SimCity on my side of the map. Alright, so Bomber's going to destroy those Barbarians. He's also going to take a couple of shots at that crown tower on the right-hand side. Going to go ahead and build my Barbarian hut on the left-hand side. And once you get to overtime with this deck, it gets extremely scary because you have plenty of elixir to use that mirror card and try to demolish your opponent's base. Okay, so he has a knight running down the lane, couple of minions as well, so I will probably have to drop something to take those out. I don't have my goblin hut built just yet. I will build that as soon as I can. Knight's going to take a couple of swipes at that tombstone right there and sort of just biding my time until we get to a minute left in the battle. And again, double elixir makes this deck go absolutely crazy as a goblin hut goes down on the bottom right. Okay, so it looks like we have a couple of spear goblins. Going to throw those guys out to see if he responds. Pretty much I'm trying to make sure he doesn't drop that lightning too many times on me so I can build up my stash of, I guess, SimCity buildings as I make my way to his side of the base. And at this point, we're heading into overtime. He's low on elixir, and it's time to get that city started on my side of the river. Okay, so it looks like my tombstone is down. Can go ahead and decide whether I want to build on my Barbarian hut, which I will do on the bottom left-hand side. Keep some of the buildings flowing. We're going to have a couple of archers to shoot down those minions because I don't have a hut on that side right there. Looks like that knight's going to get distracted. Just going to go ahead and keep building those huts. Another goblin hut on the bottom for a total of 2 behind that bottom right-hand tower. Now, if you guys ever played a building deck, you know you aren't successful unless you fill up your entire side of the map with buildings. That's what I'm going to start doing. Tombstone in the center. Can mirror that tombstone if I want as well inside of the center. That one's going to go right next to that first one right there. Looks like he's starting to panic a bit. And at this point, I could definitely go for the win, but I'm just trying to set the record for how many buildings you can build as I start filling out the rest of my base. Okay, so looks like another hut is going down right now. Things are definitely starting to get clogged as he's playing a consistent amount of defense. Elixir pumps being dropped. Looks like another tombstone's being dropped. We're running out of landscape on our side of the base. And of course, he's consistently playing defense as I drop a laughing emote right there. He says good game. He knows there's too many troops to hold off. My side of the base is absolutely littered with buildings. Good game to Satric, and yeah, that was a little bit ridiculous, but you know, it's a little bit disappointing when you don't get that 3-star. He did have that lightning spell to try to fend off one of my buildings, so let's go ahead and try it out one more time against another one of my viewers and see how it works out right here. Now, taking a look at what he has inside of his deck, he isn't as lucky as our previous opponent. He doesn't have that lightning spell, so I am free to build as many buildings as I want, and he will have no chance of taking him out. He's going to have to go for an all-out push, and that one might not work out too well. So starting off, just going to mirror that goblin hut right away. He does have a wizard. Going to have to make sure I take care of that. Honestly, not a lot of my troops are going to be good against that wizard. Going to drop that bomber, which will get a shot off to the wizard as well as those barbarians. Tombstone will distract, and at this point, we can sort of just reset and play defense. Okay, a couple more spear goblins on the right-hand side. Time to start stacking up our elixir, as those 2 goblin huts are the only 2 buildings we have on our side of the base. So one of our goblin huts is ready to be played again. Gonna place our 3rd goblin hut right now. Looks like we're gonna have 2 spear goblins start taking on that hog rider. Seeing as those spear goblins are level 7, I'm actually not gonna have to drop anything else. At this point, just letting my troops run across the river and do about 40 damage, 45 damage every single time a spear hits that tower. Okay, so the elixir collector definitely doesn't pay off right when you play it, but of course, throughout the battle, it's definitely going to pay me back and more. Looks like that's going to go ahead and generate one more elixir for us as we place another elixir pump on the right hand side of the base. Turns out this guy actually did have a lightning spell, which I didn't know about. So just going to go ahead and keep playing. He only was able to zap one of my elixir pumps. Arrows are going to go down on those buildings, and at this point he is absolutely freaking out. He even hit my king tower with those arrows, which of course makes it even harder for him to crack my defense. At this point I decide that I just want to start building on the right hand side. Let's show this guy no mercy, start the buildings, and start going crazy. Okay, so Bomber's going to help out with those barbarians. Looks like that elixir pump's going to give me a nice little push as well. Another goblin hut in the very back, and I've designated the right hand side of my village as where we are going to build our city. A couple of spear goblins to counter that hog rider. Doesn't look like he's a free spell to do anything else. Buildings are starting to go crazy on the right hand side of my base, and as he lightnings some of those really small troops, at this point he is in a lot of trouble as things start flying down the lane and they're starting to get caught up together. Having those two huts right next to each other is pretty crazy. The spear goblins are going to start taking care of that minion horde as well as a couple more archers, but at this point we can actually start building some of our buildings on his side of the base, seeing as we have destroyed that first crown tower. So goblin hut's going to go down, tombstone's going to go down. It is an insane log jam trying to cross that river to get to that wizard, and that wizard, even though he does AoE damage, is going to get absolutely overloaded as we have like 8 or 9 buildings before one of them just died going for that king tower. That will wrap it up for this battle. That was the most insane amount of troops I've ever seen, and unfortunately he didn't stand a chance toward the end of that battle. So really fun using the SimCity deck. Of course there's plenty of ways to beat it. You can use the rocket, the lightning spell, the fireball, a couple of those direct damage cards, or just push really hard down another lane. I'll definitely show you guys how to counter it inside of a separate video. But yeah, that will wrap it up for this SimCity deck episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Until next time, I will see you guys later. Peace out.